and City Council of the City of College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. It is 7:33 p.m. and we have a quorum with council members Clay, Taylor, and Allen. I believe Councilman Gay will be joining us shortly. At this time, I'm calling the meeting to order, and our first act on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on the agenda is our invocation, and that will be handled by Chaplain Alexander this evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I hope all is well. May we pray, please. Once again, Father, we come tonight, gather in your name. Father, we come tonight, continue to pray for our city, the city of College Park, our state, and for this nation as a whole as we continue to go through this pandemic. God, I ask tonight, Lord, that you continue to pray, Father, for unity, for wisdom, to be upon this governing body of this city and all its employees and the citizens. I pray tonight also for our law enforcement, for our firefighters, and the city staff, and they return home each night safely from protecting and working in this city. Father, I pray that our leaders go through tonight's agenda, that they will have wisdom and understanding, that it will be upon each one of them and the staff members involved in making decisions concerning this city. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you. Item number 2, additions, deletions, amendments, or changes. Are there any? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3. It's item 3A is the regular session presentation of the regular session minutes from the January 19th meeting.
Yeah, I'm going to move to approve those minutes as presented with one change, and that's on packet page 9. Did that change got in, Shavela?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I did. That's right. I did see your email. So on packet page 9, line 188, Ms. Ginger Blackstone said on the agenda tonight is a vote for the final artwork, not fall artwork.
All right. Any other changes?
That's all I had.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Thank you, Councilman Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 3B, Councilmember Gay is present at this point, and I believe he did vote on item 3A. Item 3B, it's workshop session held January 19th.
I move to approve as presented. No changes that I saw.
All right. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Councilman Allen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. That would be unanimous. Item 4 is proclamations, resolutions, plaques, and announcements. We have none tonight, so we're moving straight to number 5, remarks of citizens. Ms. Moore.
Yes, ma'am. I have 3 citizens that elected to speak virtually. The first one is Ms. Ginger Blackstone. Mr. Hicks.
Okay. Ms. Blackstone is now allowed to talk.
I'm unmuted, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good to go. Thank you. I'll be quick. Last meeting, the discussion about the proposed mural for the auditorium. Okay, and I know something's up on the agenda tonight, but after I listened to Renee, I was very enlightened, and I decided to dig deeper into where the disconnect was. And I've discovered that it pretty much falls in the lap of the Historical Society. Nothing deliberate, nothing whatever, but Renee was kind enough to spend some time on the phone with me after I dug things out. And she had mentioned that we had someone representing the Historical Society on the committee. The understanding that we all had was that the person would keep us apprised. People's lives have been upended a lot, as we know, and I won't go into that, but there are some serious issues that our representative was struggling with, family and work and a death of a parent. So anyway, long story short, we were pretty much in the dark. Renee was right. And also, if I may add, our role with the Department of Recreation and Cultural Affairs has never been very clear. With the previous director, he had met and told us when he first came in, like in 2019, that we had been put under that department, which we've never been under a department since we're a 501c3, but that was fine. But we really had no connection or interaction unless the building was having problems. We had people coming in for some reason, they had access and they would leave it unlocked, and then we had flooding. But at any case, I just wanted to set right what I had said. Renee, bless her heart, was very kind. You know, I'm very fond of her anyway, but I think she felt blindsided by my comments last time, and I profusely apologized, and she kindly accepted, because I surely wasn't after her anything. It was just a total frustration. And I said, well, I will do the same thing I did last time and to make a remark. It's all I've got. And I do support, she and I talked about moving the mural down to the entrance of College Park. I personally think that's a great idea. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
The next speaker will be Kay Foreman. Kay Foreman, Mr. Hicks.
Okay. Kay Foreman should be unmuted.
Did I mute?
Kay Foreman is unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Broom and other council members. My name is Kevin Foreman, and I am I've lived over 20 years here in College Park over 2394 Rugby Avenue. And over the last few years, I've seen a dramatic increase in cars speeding up the road from the corner of Washington Road onto West Rugby Avenue. Cars racing up the street have become extremely hazardous to the safety and welfare of both myself and my neighbors. Even going to my mailbox or walking along the street has become a potentially hazardous event. And largely because I'm concerned about either getting clipped by a car or even hit by a speeding car. I also have a 6-year-old son, and I'm always concerned about us crossing the street over to my neighbor's house, who also has a 6-year-old. And I've actually addressed these concerns to the mayor directly, I think when I saw her over at the post office one time. However, for the past few years, I know my neighbor, Robert Golden, has been extremely vocal about bringing this issue to the councilman and other people in the city. He's even videotaped cars rustling up and down the street and posted them on Facebook. My biggest issue is, I noticed that on the agenda, item 8C, that a number of speed cushions are being put up around Woodward Academy to reduce speeding, but I don't see those things happening around our area. I really just have 3 questions. One, why have not these issues been, addressed, even though, my neighbor's been bringing this to the city's attention? And then secondly, where did, I guess, you guys find non-budgeted revenue to install these speed cushions? And then thirdly, what is the process to install speed cushions along our end of Rugby Avenue? So in order to reduce speeding and to, so that we feel safe in this area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
The next speaker is Robert Golden.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Hey, Mayor and Council. I am Robert Golden, and I reside at 2424 Rugby Avenue. And the topic of my comments relates to public safety concerns on Rugby at Washington Road. I've been a homeowner and a resident and a taxpayer on Rugby for 22 plus years. In these 22 years, we've never enjoyed the benefit of pedestrian safety provisions such as speed cushions or basic sidewalks even at Rugby at Washington Road. Specifically, there are no sidewalks from Rugby from Flowers to Washington Road on the north side of Rugby, or from Harris to Washington Road on the south side of Rugby. And we're seeking a solution. When checking mail, walking a dog, stepping off the curb to spin a lawnmower while cutting the front lawn, or blowing leaves for curbside pickup, or just simply walking to Barrett Park, Rugby at Washington Road citizens are taking their lives into their hands. This is especially the case when both eastbound and westbound lanes of Rugby are occupied by vehicles. Someone is going to be hurt or worse if this is not addressed. I have raised the issue to Mayor and Council, as well as Public Works, and it seems to be categorized as a budget issue for most. And I get that. But for 22 years, with increasing traffic on Rugby, this has not been addressed as a safety issue, and it is flat out dangerous. I'm raising the issue tonight because I could not help but notice agenda item 8C under bids, change requests, and contracts as it requests consideration and approval for speed cushions within the areas of Woodward Academy to reduce speeding and make the area safer for the community. As Councilman Clay's comments noted in his email to Ward 1 residents, non-budgeted revenue would fund this effort for the main and primary campuses. My question to Mayor and Council is, being all for safety for our kids, my West Side neighbors and I would like to know, how can we find funds, budgeted or otherwise, to be located to respond to our requests for sidewalks, speed cushions, or other methods that would reduce speeding and make the area safe for the community? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, is that the conclusion of the folks who signed up?
Yes, that is everyone that signed up.
All
At
right.
this time, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please go right ahead.
No, at this time, if anyone would like to speak, they are allowed to speak for 1 minute. You will log on to the link that is posted on our Facebook page as well as the city's website. And Mr. Hicks, you let us know if anyone raises their hand because that's how you will be acknowledged.
Sure will. No one so far.
All right, we'll leave it open for a couple more moments here. Anyone else?
Oh, no hand raised.
All right, we'll move forward then. We're moving on to item 6A, other business. We have a COVID-19 update from Dr. Baker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The report or the information that you have before you has changed slightly. As of 5 o'clock today, our confirmed positive cases, we have a total of 12 throughout our employee population. And we have 15 possible exposures, giving us a total of 27 cases. And we have had 37 employees to return to work. And that concludes my report. I'm open for questions if there are any questions.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for Dr. Baker?
I would just like to say to Dr. Baker, thank you for publishing the set of guidelines for our employees on the COVID. I think it was worthwhile. I think it was needed, and I appreciate your due diligence and getting some of these things accomplished. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Dr. Baker? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 6B, an update on the AMI billing interface and other related software. Mr. Richardson, the floor is yours.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. And this is our monthly update of our advanced meter system, and it is still performing well. The first page shows our weekly snapshot of our access point communication, and they've been pretty consistent since last year. So far, so good on those. Next page, we show some of our work we've been doing to kind of continue to whittle down the manual reads, including replacing water meters, endpoints being replaced, and resetting endpoints. And we got some good news. We got some, the next generation of endpoints we'll be installing in the next few months. for our replacements and for our new growth. They will have a 20-year warranty. They will give us 4 readings per day, and they will break down the water usage in 15-minute intervals. So those are coming up. I'm looking forward to those. And they will also work with the new generation of the cellular communication. So we're moving forward with that. And the next page shows the other updates. 16 customers contacted about water leaks. Continue to do that. And the kilowatt hour sales difference from pandemic. And you can see the last 2 months have been positive. I did look into that, and the answer has got to be our heating degree days. If you compare December to February of this year compared to December, February last year, we've had 27% more heating degree days. It's been a colder winter, and that's not including today. So that has got to be the answer, because I can't think of any other reason why our sales would have gone up as much. If you look at January, it looks like those numbers are backwards. 9.2% all customers and 9.5% without the data center. So I put another page to show how that was calculated. The next page, Shale, and this is how I do it. And these numbers I'm getting the hourly load, and these are from Miag's substation meters. I'm not taking our meters, I'm taking the substation meters and comparing the hourly data, except for the data center, which I use ours. But so that's how I do it. So far so good as far as sales the last couple months. Any questions?
Anyone questions for Mr. Richardson?
Yes, the endpoints that we're getting in, we're not talking about a wholesale replacement, I assume, are we, or are we?
No, I mean, they'd like us to do that, but I'm saying right now we just start replacing them as they go out, the old ones go out, or we have new growth.
So I presume the software will be adjusted to know that some endpoints do it 4 times, report 4 times a day, and others only report once.
Right. And we can set those times. I've already asked those questions, and our Tremble meter works with the new ones too. So everything, there's no changes at all with the new ones.
Very good. Looking better and better every month.
Absolutely. Any other questions for Mr. Richardson? Hearing none. Appreciate that, sir. Ms. Moore, anything on 6C?
I'm open for questions. I don't have anything.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Moore?
No questions from me.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to 6D. And I believe someone is taking over for Ms. Floyd Bradley on items 6D through 6F, correct?
Yes, Madam Mayor, it should be Ron.
Rhonda.
All right. She's still muted. So are there any questions on 6D or 6E?
I had some before, but I got them all answered. I'm
okay.
Good.
Anyone else have any questions on item 6D or 6E? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 6F. Any questions in regard to item 6F? The College Park Utility Assistance Grant Program update.
I had 2 questions.
Okay.
So I emailed Ms. Bradley today, and I had a call from a resident at 4001 Lakemont who received a $1,000 utility grant. She claims her utility rate has doubled since the grant. I can't verify that, but she wants me to look into that. And the second question is, did we get an answer on if the grant program has been extended?
Well, first of all, I would check the power for 4001 Lakemont Drive.
I'll text you her address. I don't want to give it to you.
And I think Ms. Bradley said at the last meeting it was extended to June.
So are we giving a flat 2,500, or are we just giving, did we agree on a flat rate for all applicants?
No, it It depends on what they qualify for based on their family needs and the number of people in the house.
Okay. I got one last question. I don't know if this question will help anybody else, but I got another call from a resident who was denied the grant because she's not working, but she claims she can't find a job due to COVID. Is that a disqualifier?
If you will send me that person's name, I'll look at their file and let you know what's going on with it.
And
But
if I may,
What'd you say, Councilman Allen?
I was just going to say, I asked the same question to Althea early this morning and about the expiration of the grant, and she sent it back to me, said it expires December 31st of 2000.
Okay. All right, I'll send it to you, Ms. Miller.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else on item 6F?
Yes.
All right.
I had asked a question of Althea with regard to additional help that she might need or get to facilitate processing faster. And she identified that she could use some additional help. And so my question is, are we getting her the help? And if not, why not? Because it'll get paid for out of the grant. And we would like to administer as much of the grant as we can before we lose it.
No, we are getting her some help. She had some interviews last week.
Very
or
good.
she might not have had the interviews because of her illness, but I know she have interviews set up.
Very good. That's what I was hoping to hear.
All right. Any other questions? Moving on, we have no public hearings tonight, so we are at item 8A, consideration of an action on a request for approval of emergency repairs to the fire department ladder truck. Chief Elmore, this one is yours.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're requesting emergency repairs for our 13-year-old ladder truck. It needs a motor rebuild, and I'm recommending us to go with Randall Brackett Fire and Truck Repair. We've used them in the past. They've worked on our vehicles and we were satisfied, and they also specialize in emergency vehicles. They're not the lowest repair estimate. The lowest was with Moore's Trucking and Auto, but we've never used them in the past. So W.W. Williams, we did use to repair our trucks, but they were the highest. So, but I am recommending that you allow us to go with Randall Brackett Fire Truck Repairs.
Do we know how long the repairs are going to take? Ballpark number?
We've had some work done to the truck about 8 years ago, where they did a partial motor rebuild, and it took them about 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Elmore, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When you say they're not the lowest, but you never use them, I'm just want to be clear. Was that your criteria that you've never used them?
Our criteria is we also took a look at their facility, and to us, they work on trucks, but they had a lot of trucks just sitting in their yard.
Okay.
Yes.
So not the lowest responsive bidder.
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing that the chief clarified for me, that I looked at the parts list between the different companies, and Randall Brackett was missing an EGR cooler kit on their part list. And so my question was, well, don't we need one of those? And the chief got back and said, yes, they were putting that in. They had just omitted it from the list.
All right. Any other questions?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Clay. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
You.
Councilman Taylor, did I hear you?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that is unanimous. Moving on to item 8B, consideration of an action on a request for approval to renew Barracuda backup appliance used in public safety and cloud storage for 1 year. Mr. Hicks,
Go ahead, Mayor. I'm sorry.
Mr. Hicks, I was a little confused about the memo that accompanied this, because are you looking to replace the product sometime in the next year?
Yes, ma'am, we are looking to replace it. As a matter of fact, what I listed in the memo was other equipment that could replace it right now. But
So if there's something that could replace it, why are we renewing it?
I was told that we don't have the funding for the other equipment right now.
Okay.
So it's about, what was it, about $400,000 or something like that?
Oh, okay. So 37,000 compared to
It- it
400,000.
was a lot
That's a
of
significant
money.
difference.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I'm way too high,
Right.
Michael, but I thought it was
It's
substantial.
403,000. But it's on a 5-year lease, so it's about 80,000 a year. And so I plan on putting that in the budget for next year.
Good idea.
Okay. Still significantly more than 37. So,
I'll move
and-
to approve.
all right. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Gay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. Item 8C, consideration of an action on a request for approval to install speed cushions on streets on the north end of the city within areas of Woodward Academy to reduce speeding and make the area safer for the community. Ms. Miller, are you going to take this one, or Councilman Clay? Which one?
Well, I'm probably more familiar with it than almost anyone.
I believe you are.
Just to answer the question that was brought up during the public comment, the source of external funds is Woodward Academy. And we are very appreciative of the partnership that we have with Woodward. It makes it not just safer for their students, but it makes it safer for their students walking to the schools and for the neighborhood in general. I wish that we could have justified asking Woodward to put something out on Rugby, but that's really a little far afield from the school proximity. And so that's the history on it. There are a couple sites on there. Site 9 and Site 10, we have a range of addresses. The College Park Police Department weighed in on sites 8, 9, 10, and 11. And in doing so, we knew 2 locations for sure that we wanted to put them. But the other 2 locations we gave as a range, and it's something that we're going to have to explore. We want to order the cushions, and then we'll explore the exact location, and it'll be in between those houses in that range.
And I might add that I talked with Mr. Connor at Woodward Academy. We walked the campus, looked at the spots he wants to do in Ward 3, and I concur with every single one of them.
All right. With that, I'm going to move to approve if no one else has any questions.
And I will second it.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Allen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. That's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 9A, consideration of a mural design for the wall facing Main Street on the front of the College Park Auditorium building.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At the last meeting, after much discussion, I was asked to bring this item back to this meeting, and the proposal was to have this mural moved to the long wall on the south end of Main Street down, which is the retaining wall for the Park and Fly business. And what you have before you tonight is the proposal from the muralist to present this mural on a section of that wall, because that wall is it's over 300 feet long. And so his proposal is to create the mural in between the 2 power poles. And then my request to Mayor and Council would be to put together a volunteer crew to eventually paint the other 2 sides of that wall. And the proposal that you have before you, it would be the remaining balance that would be due to the muralist to complete this size of mural on that wall.
Any questions for Ms. Coakley?
Well, I guess the question now is, where do we find the $15,000?
I think it's 12, right? Is it 12 or 15?
So 12 would,
Oh,
would
it's
be the
15. I'm
total,
sorry.
correct, plus the 3,000 we currently owe him. And I had a conversation with Ms. Mercedes Miller earlier in the week, and it was determined that there was a fund, that we had some advertising dollars, and that would be where the funds would come from.
Okay, so it's a related fund. It truly is advertising the city.
Correct.
So that
Okay.
makes sense that that money could be redeployed into that fund.
Correct.
From that fund.
We still talk about the auditorium, right?
No, sir. We're talking about the wall that is at the intersection of Main Street and is that Lee that turns
next
on
to Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I was under the impression we were going to keep this mural for the auditorium and do something totally different for the one that you're talking about now.
We talked when we 2 weeks ago when we discussed it. It was the proposal was to put this mural on the auditorium, and then the conversation kind of turned to using this as sort of a, for lack of a better term, like a gateway banner into the downtown portion of the city. So that's how the conversation shifted to that particular wall.
Yeah, that's what I think it make more sense to do it what we was already doing there. Because we scrap for money anyway. I think $3,000 is a lot cheaper than $12,000. Any money that we have, we're going to put toward it. I think we should do it what we was going to do it at first, and then get a whole nother group to try to do something else at the bigger place, and we make raise more money at another time. I think we should have enough money to do the one in the auditorium right now with the one that we was going to do in the first place.
Okay. Any other conversation?
Well, I would like to make a comment that 2 years ago, I sent an email to Koki Smokes, and I recommended, and I copied Mayor and Council, that we do a mural on the wall facing Main Street and Lee for paying homage to the bicyclists that ride down Main. As a matter of fact, I even sent her a mock design. So separate from what Councilman Taylor concerns are, which I actually agree with. My question is just curious, is that what started this conversation about the mural design for the wall, and will it include doing something for the cyclists? Because my vision was when the cyclists come to our city every Saturday or Sunday, we recognize them in some way.
No, sir. Cookie Smokes Group can't put a mural there. The way that the mural got started was Renee Coakley got a grant to have a mural done, and she was going to do the mural on the auditorium. When we brought it to Mayor and Council last meeting, they said, okay, we love this mural, but we think it should be at the entrance into College Park. So we had to go back to the artist, find out what the measurements were and what it looked like for them to paint it at the entrance of College Park. So that's how we ended up here.
So let me make sure I'm clear. I was right about that mural being a value for branding, but what you're saying is my information in Koki and to Mayor and Council, you're saying it didn't ever get anywhere beyond that?
No, Cookie's group can't fund a mural.
No. I didn't say fund. I said, okay. Well, the advertising dollars are coming from where?
The advertising dollars are coming from a citywide
so
account.
If Cookie had wanted to discuss that, those same dollars were available then, right?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Well, I just think one other comment when we were talking, to add to what Mercedes said, when we were talking about the mural for the auditorium, I think the focus at one point was, well, these are things that go on in the auditorium. And then we said, well, but the Hawks don't play at the auditorium and the airplanes don't take off from the auditorium. And that's what pushed us into this idea that this is more a citywide banner than something specific to the auditorium. And I think that also helped guys move it to the other location.
Correct.
Is it possible to put a cycle in one of these spaces, these letters, Mercedes, or is this the
I'm
rendering
sure
that we have to?
we'll find a way to put a cycle in it.
It is
Well,
possible
you
to
know-
change out some of the letters, yes.
Mhm.
Or you've got the ends of this that you're going to paint with flat
Well,
paint right now. Why you could even consider, rather than actually having to go back and force it through the artist, you could actually have him or somebody else just add some cycles on the end, for example.
Well, these were silhouettes, and I'm happy to resend it to her.
Will you please resend it?
Because Councilman Gay, we might
Well,
be able to
don't
do
s-
that at
yeah.
fairly economical rate.
If we've got paint.
I
Yeah.
think that's a good
Any other
idea.
questions?
So what are we gonna do at the auditorium?
To be determined.
Nothing right now is what it boils down to, I think.
One of the things that I discussed a couple of weeks ago was the fact that the auditorium in of itself is in fairly decent shape in terms of paint, and that wall being an entryway to downtown is in
Ugly.
much greater need. And I believe the minutes referenced my comment as it's just ugh, which I couldn't change that. That's what I said. But it certainly, as a main thoroughfare to downtown, this could be a benefit. But it is ultimately up to the body.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we approve moving the mural, that we make it larger on the wall, the way it was proposed tonight, and that we look at adding some cyclists either to the mural itself or on the ends of the mural, just sort of enlarging it. In a way, it's cyclists coming to College Park to enjoy all the things in College Park. So I could rationalize that. Anyhow, that would be my motion.
Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Gay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank you
opposed?
all.
Hold on.
I vote no.
Okay, thank you. All right, so council members Clay, Gay, and Allen are in favor. Councilman Taylor is against. The motion passes.
Thank you all.
Item 10A, consideration of an action on the adoption of a resolution and incumbency and signatory certificate authorizing the mayor and mayor pro tem to communicate city decisions with respect to execution of the Miag Power Municipal Competitive Trust Fund. Any questions?
No, I just move to approve. It's
All right,
something we need to do.
got to do it every year. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Councilman Allen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 10B, consideration of an action on a request for approval of the proposed mayor and council departmental budget meeting schedule for fiscal year 2021-22, as well as an opportunity for general policy direction by elected leadership.
Is this Zoom meetings?
Yes.
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 I'll move
Well,
to approve.
Approve. I have a question. Do we get the?
Okay, wait, hold
material-
on 1 second. There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
All right, thank you, Councilman Gay. Go ahead and ask your question.
do we get this in electronic rather than those books? If it's Zoom?
We can give it to you electronically. Would you rather have it electronically?
No, I'm just
Absolutely.
saying, it's easier to manage the conversation if on Zoom, the digital file than those books.
Amen.
Do any members of the body wish to have it in paper?
I do.
Okay, Councilman Taylor wants it in paper. Anybody else?
I'd like to have it in paper so I could refer back to it from time to time. Just grab the book and refer back.
Okay, so there's 3 of us that
I'll
want it
use-
electronically.
I use electronic, but I would like to have a.
Okay.
All right, let's save some trees where we can.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. City Attorney's report.
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. City Manager's report.
For the citizens, please look out. We are going live with our announcement of bill pay online. So we will be doing training in our lobby soon, as well as having a Zoom training. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is report of mayor and council. I'm not sure which way I went last time, but I'll start with Councilman Clay.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep it very short. About 2 weeks ago, I got from several different sources while Gary was out that the FAA has finally released a neighborhood environmental survey report. And it was conducted back in 2015 and 2016. I personally think the FAA was surprised by the answer. The answer was, first off, it was focusing on sound, even though it talked about other irritants, annoyance factors, the focus was on sound. What they found out was that people are a lot more disturbed by airport noise than they were when the previous annoyance curve was created that measured dB against annoyance, perceived annoyance by residents. So bottom line is they released the report. They have a short explanation of it. I think it's about 7 or 8 pages, something like that. The full report is 460 pages or something. I don't recommend reading the full report. I haven't even read the full report, but I strongly recommend that you read the summary report, which the FAA would want comments on. The day they give the cutoff date to give comments on their website is March 15th. I would cut it to the 13th just because of some possible discrepancy I won't go into. I just started publishing a week ago on my website links to the report, a couple background presentations that I did over the past several years to try to get the national noise standard changed to recognize that it's different now because we're seeing more planes more frequently, more continuously every few seconds, every 45 seconds to a minute apart. So bottom line is, I have it on my website. I suggest though that we get Gerald to either put it on the city website as well, or to put a short note and a link to my website on the city website, which I'm going to probably add some more background information as time goes on that will enable citizens to make an intelligent comment about the report. I'll give them some ideas for the report. So I'm just recommending that we get the word out and that we put it on the city website to get people, particularly in Ward 4 and Ward 2, to be able to comment to the FAA.
We got it.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
Anything else, Councilman Clay?
That's all I have.
All right, Councilman Taylor.
I don't have anything.
All right, Councilman Allen.
Just a couple of things. First of all, my bida selection, I'm not going to make a selection until after the 10th. So if you're interested in being considered, please let me know. kallen@collegeparkga.com, and I'll make sure that you get considered along with the others that I've already received. I've heard from several people about the Harvard Place fire victims. And I talked with Jamel McKenzie today, who's been in contact with each one. And she said that currently there's 8 that are looking for assistance. They're currently staying in a hotel, I think the Indigo, and they have sufficient clothing and canned goods right now, but they do need funds from time to time or for day-to-day expenses. So if anybody would like to donate money, they can donate it to Ignite. They will make sure that 100% of that money goes to the fire victims, and it is tax deductible. Lastly, I'd just like to say, I brought it up before And, you know, I'm looking at part-time people for the fire department. I know we're going way over budget for overtime. So if we can look at part-time people, the cost might be a little bit cheaper to get part-time people if you can, and save on the expensive overtime cost for the current employees. And when you put the overtime on the employees and they continue to work overtime, I think you put additional stress on the people. Their mental fatigue becomes involved. I just think there's a lot of benefits at looking at temporary, and might be something that we need to look at. So that's something possibly we could do. Lastly, I just like to say, you know, Mercedes Miller has been in the job as interim city manager for 1 month, and I think has done just an outstanding job. So kudos to you, Mercedes, and all the people that you've worked with. You've done a great job. That's all I have. Stay safe.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Gay.
Good evening. Ms. Miller, can you just give a quick update on the broker insurance contract status?
I can. On November, the 1st of November, we did an employee insurance survey. We put out an RFP and began advertising for bids November the 19th. We answered Q&A that closed on December 11th, and the bids totally closed on December 16th. We took in all the bids, we graded them, and then we did the interviews on January 29th. And on February 15th, we'll be coming back to council with the recommendation.
Okay, so as of tonight, are there any unsuccessful bidders? How is that process? We got finalists? How's that working out?
No, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 10 bids that were submitted. We had some bids that did not qualify because we were seeking insurance as well as workman comp. And we picked the top 3 to interview, and we will make a recommendation out of those 3.
So the rest of the bidders are unsuccessful. Have they been notified?
They were notified today from the procurement department.
Okay. Here's my concern. Is our current broker one of the unsuccessful bidders?
Yes, because they did not submit anything on workman's comp, which disqualified them.
They got disqualified because they didn't. Okay, my concern is I read the bid, and having a background in that, I'm a little concerned that the bid that went out of procurement was somewhat ambiguous. There's a few things that does not give all the bidders, not just the current broker, but the other bidders, it doesn't give them a fair competition. The way that the costs were returned, some people bid it with commissions and some people bid it with a flat fee plus costs. My issue is on council. I can't vote intelligently not knowing if the matter was bidded out fairly. What I'm recommending is that, the other thing is that this is, and I could be wrong, but I think this is approximately $4 million. I think this is approximately a $4 million contract. That's what I think I saw our total insurance, health insurance, workman's comp, indemnity cost was around $4 million. The other concern I have is that if we change the medical program for our employees, I'm a little concerned that the city may be on the hook for paying a much higher cost than we're currently paying because of the way it was bidded out. So what I'm just saying is I think we need to bring the current broker and the finalists to a workshop and let mayor and council ask important questions, because not only is this a very large contract, but since I've been on council, we have never taken a contract from a current provider this contract is not up for renewal. You realize that, correct? It's not up for renewal until June.
Councilman Gay,
Currently,
I'm gonna interject because we're having this conversation in 2 weeks. So if there's issues to address, then I think they should be addressed then.
Well, here's what I would like. I would like to have the finalists as well as the current broker to a workshop before we make a decision, because our HR director doesn't, in my opinion, know a lot about the claims history. Our city manager is acting, and she's not the one who put it out in the first place. So my concern is from a legal, as well as the way we as a city have done business in the past. What I would like to have is for, before we take a recommendation, I would like for them to come down to a work session at the next council meeting. It can still be on the agenda so that we can ask the important questions to make sure that we're being transparent and fair in this important process.
I think if there's questions of concerns about the legality of the bid, then I think that we need to involve Mr. Denmark. And if he sees any issues with it, then we can address those. Certainly, he's the one who's representing us in those matters.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, you want Winston to tell us now, or has Winston
No, I do
had a
not.
chance to review it?
I certainly do not want to put him on the spot with that. So if he can come back to us by the end of the week, if there's any issues with it and we need to take another look at it, that's fine. But if he doesn't see any issues with it, then we let the staff proceed and let them do their work.
I can't do my job as an elected official, represents 700 plus employees' health, because workers' comp was an option. So when you say optional and someone don't bid on it, I don't know that you can disqualify someone when you tell them optional.
Councilman Gay, we're not having this discussion right now. We're discussing health insurance and workers' comp in 2 weeks. Please move on.
So my question is, I recommend that they be brought to a workshop and allow mayor and council to ask the finalists questions, as opposed to Dwight Baker, who's here 1 month, and a city manager who's active. I think
Ms. Miller, is it your plan to bring the finalists to a workshop?
it is, and I was the one that put out the RFP when I was acting HR director.
so. You're saying that you're going to bring the finalists to a workshop before you asked us to bid on it, to select it? Is that what you're saying?
I would be bringing the recommended company to workshop so that they can give you information in workshop, and then we can make a decision at the council.
Could we bring the finalists is what I'm asking, the 3 finalists? I mean, listen, I don't want to be argumentative. I'm trying to save the taxpayer money. I think if we're talking about, listen, this is all about money and there's millions of dollars at stake. Trust me on this one. Can they be brought down for a workshop? Because if it's fee plus cost, we're going to be having this conversation again.
If that is what the mayor and council want, we can bring the top 3 to give a presentation.
Is that the desire of the body?
What I'd like to know is what was planned to be done? Didn't we have the ability to ask questions?
Absolutely.
When we review the results of the bidding process?
Yes, sir.
And I presume, won't those people be on Zoom such that we can ask them if we have to?
The company that we would recommend would be on Zoom. It was done by committee. There was Dr. Baker, there was the finance director, IT director, and the procurement manager, and myself. So it wasn't done in a closet. It was done by committee.
Right. I'm just saying the conduct of the meeting, it sounds like we're going to do what Councilman Gay is looking for.
Well, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with your ability to have selected. I'm just saying, if you want us to make a recommendation, you don't want us to be part of the selection process. Is that what you're saying? You want us to just go take your word for it, staff, but you want us to have the decision to select them.
Councilman,
should not-
Councilman,
we should-
Councilman, Councilman, we're not here to argue about this. We're going to be handling this in 2 weeks. Please move forward.
Okay, the next question was, Mike, are you online? Mike Mason. See there?
Sir, I'm sorry.
Is that Mike Mason?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Is there an update on the street paving for Colonia?
Well, the bids are open in between this council agenda item, so we anticipate bringing this forward for approval at the next council meeting.
Okay. The next thing is, I have only 2 more items. Mayor Broom.
Motley Broom.
Yes, the other item is Renee, on Main Street, the renaming of Roosevelt from to Herschel. Are you there, Renee? Coakley, are you online? Is Renee online?
She may have left for the evening, so I
Okay.
can get your question.
So I noticed that they were putting markers on the phone poles. Is there any opportunity to start branding the remainder of Main Street? Because I was just telling my son, you have a $30 million Atlanta airport parking lot. You have a $25 million hotel. It's a considerable amount of investment going west down there. Is there any opportunity to start making that inclusive of the rest of the Main Street?
I will find out for you and let you know.
I think that's a great point.
Army Perry had told me that it was going to be part of their conversations at each one of their Main Street meetings. So I would just like for, I even reached out to the Aerotropolis to look at if there's an opportunity to start involving some of the businesses. But it's just a great asset that we're not taking advantage of. My fourth one is, well, one more after that. Kudos to Stacey Abrams, who was nominated to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for her involvement with the voting. So kudos to her. And my last one is, I noticed there's a Zoom meeting with Congressman David Scott. I know that the area of Washington Road Job Corps isn't in College Park, but I'm getting a lot of calls from my constituents that the development has been blighted for about a year and a half. Can we find out during that Zoom meeting, can you reach out to them to see if that can be discussed so that we won't be out of order when we talk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. So, everyone, if you're concerned about the neighborhood, we are ramping up a neighborhood watch. So please go to collegeparkga.com. It is on the homepage. You can sign up if you are interested because we will be ramping it up in conjunction with the College Park Police. I've been talking about it for a few meetings now, and I'm excited to say that we are getting those gears in motion. I want to take the time to thank Michelle Johnson, Jerisha Bronson, Gerald Walker. I'm going to leave people off here. I know I'm going to leave people off. The entire College Park Recreation and Cultural Arts Department, Kai Leitner, Kevin Jorgensen, Adidas, all of the people, Stone Summit Climbing, who came together last week for the ribbon cutting at the Wyatt Recreation Center for the new climbing wall that we have in the gym. It was so wonderful to see the kids take to the sport immediately and have so much fun at it. And it's not just about fun. It's also about building pathways to things that kids may not have known about and not had access to before. And we are so grateful to both Kai and Stone Summit, who will work to sort of create a climbing club here at our facility and bring kids over to Stone Summit so they can grow in the sport, learn to be competitive, and open up even more doors. It was a wonderful event. If you haven't had a chance to go over and see that wall, it is open for the community and it is a wonderful amenity. And we are so grateful that Adidas actually spent over $75,000 to get it in our community. We didn't have to pay a dime. We've even got shoes and everything. And so it's just a great asset for us. I know some folks were concerned in public comment earlier about the intersection of Rugby and Washington Road. Mr. Myers, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about your efforts and working with GDOT on that intersection and what we've got, what we're hoping to accomplish there?
I've been working with the district office, District 7 office, and they do a lot of, Georgia Department of Transportation does a lot of off-systems help when we have a lot of, when we have traffic problems, also if we have accidents. And then I want to thank the police department for getting the information together for me also about the traffic accidents and speeding in that Rugby Avenue in Washington. So we're hoping that it's on the list, and and Georgia Department of Transportation is evaluating that as part of a quick response. And if they accept that, which they are really looking into it, they tell me that they'll be able to go out there and they'll redesign it and also build it for as far as free to the city right now.
Okay, so we are certainly optimistic on that end, and we're working at that particular intersection, and we hear you. We hear you about the safety concerns there, and trying to make that safer for everyone, drivers, pedestrians, residents, everyone involved. And lastly, Ms. Miller, I know that you tried to reach out to the Postal Service because we've been hearing some consistent complaints about mail service, and I wanted to see if there had been any updates on that.
Actually, I reached out to them again today. I got a call from Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson said she is not the person to speak, that it would be her boss. So she forwarded my email and copied her boss into the email. And I told them that I wanted them to speak at the council meeting on the 15th. So we are holding our breath. And if not, then I'm getting in my car and I'm going over to that main post office.
I can tell you that our mail has been a lot better over the last week and a half than it has in the last 6 months.
That's probably because they heard Ms. Miller was going to come over. But it would still be great to get some information, some explanations about what's been going on. So hopefully they can keep us posted on that. I don't have anything else. We have some
executive session.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I in terms of my report, I didn't have anything else.
Oh.
I knew that there were executive session minutes to approve.
Okay.
So if there is a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that is unanimous. So now we don't have anything else. It is 8:36 p.m. I wish everyone a great evening. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care. This meeting is adjourned.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.